In the vast expanse of the universe, where stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across an endless velvet canvas, there existed a planet unlike any other. Xylora, 7 was a world bathed in perpetual twilight, its skies painted with swirling hues of violet and indigo. The air shimmered with an otherworldly energy, and crystalline structures rose from the ground like frozen waterfalls, refracting light into mesmerizing patterns. It was here, within the grand palace of luminescent crystal, that Princess Lyra spent her days. Born to the royal lineage of the Xylorians, Lyra possessed an ethereal beauty that transcended human understanding. Her skin glowed with a soft, opalescent sheen, while her eyes, large and multifaceted like precious gems, reflected every color imaginable. Yet beneath this alien exterior beat a heart yearning for something more than the structured life of royalty. She had watched countless diplomatic missions arrive at their planet, each bringing beings from distant worlds, but none had ever stirred her soul quite like the unexpected arrival of Captain Marcus Reed. The human vessel had appeared without warning, its sleek design cutting through Xylorian space like a silver arrow. When Marcus stepped onto the transporter platform, his presence immediately disrupted the carefully maintained equilibrium of the royal court. Standing over 6 feet tall with sun-kissed skin and piercing blue eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them, he carried himself with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. His crew followed orders with military precision, yet it was Marcus who commanded attention merely by existing. Lyra found herself inexplicably drawn to this stranger from Earth. During formal introductions, she felt her cheeks warm, an unusual reaction for a species whose emotions typically ran as cool as their planet's twilight atmosphere. The human captain's smile held secrets of distant worlds, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of countless adventures. "Your Highness," he had said, bowing slightly, though his eyes never left hers. "It's an honor to meet such extraordinary company." Their initial meetings were strictly formal affairs, filled with diplomatic discussions about trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Yet fate seemed determined to weave their paths together. During a ceremonial banquet, Marcus demonstrated uncommon curiosity about Xylorian customs. While other delegates maintained polite distance, he leaned forward, genuinely interested in every detail Lyra shared about her people's symbiotic relationship with their environment. His questions weren't just perfunctory, they revealed a mind eager to understand rather than conquer. As weeks passed, their interactions grew more frequent. Marcus would often be found wandering the crystal gardens, claiming he was studying Xylorian flora, though Lyra suspected he simply sought moments away from the rigid protocol of diplomatic relations. She began joining him on these excursions, finding comfort in the way he moved through their world with respectful wonder rather than condescending curiosity. They discussed everything from quantum physics to poetry, discovering shared passions they never expected to find in an alien counterpart. The turning point came during a sudden ion storm that forced them to take shelter in one of the ancient observation towers. Trapped together amidst the crackling energy outside, they shared stories of their respective childhoods. Marcus spoke of growing up on Earth's western coast, watching spacecraft launch into the heavens, while Lyra described learning to navigate the crystal tides that ebbed and flowed across her planet's surface. In that moment, separated from their roles as diplomat and princess, they became simply two souls sharing the universal language of dreams and aspirations. What neither of them could have anticipated was how profoundly these encounters would affect them both. For Lyra, who had always known her place in the cosmic order of things, Marcus represented a chaos she found strangely intoxicating. He challenged her preconceptions not just about humans, but about herself. Meanwhile, Marcus discovered depths within his own character he hadn't realized existed. The Xylorian princess showed him that courage wasn't just about facing danger, it was about embracing vulnerability and allowing oneself to care deeply about someone beyond one's own species. Their connection deepened with each passing day, evolving from professional courtesy to genuine friendship, and then to something neither could quite define. The court whispered behind their hands, and even Lyra's advisors began expressing concern about the amount of time she spent with the human captain. But try as they might to maintain proper distance, destiny seemed determined to draw them closer together, leading them inexorably toward a moment neither was truly prepared to face, a moment that would challenge everything they thought they knew about love, belonging, and the boundaries between worlds. The transformation in Lyra was subtle yet undeniable. Where once she moved through the palace halls with measured grace befitting her station, now her steps quickened whenever she approached the west wing where Marcus's temporary quarters were located. Her mornings began with thoughts of their last conversation, and her evenings ended with anticipation of their next meeting. The crystalline gardens, once merely beautiful, had become sacred spaces where every shadow held memories of shared laughter and quiet revelations. Marcus noticed the change in her too. The confident princess who had first greeted him with regal composure now occasionally stumbled over her words when caught off guard. Her multifaceted eyes, which used to reflect the cool detachment of diplomatic protocol, now sparkled with an intensity that made his chest tighten. During their daily walks among the bioluminescent foliage, he found himself reaching out to touch her hand more often, each contact sending electric currents through his human nervous system. Their conversations evolved from intellectual exchanges to intimate confessions. One evening, beneath the twin moons of Xylora, 7, Lyra admitted how the human concept of romantic love fascinated her. In our culture, she explained, tracing patterns on the crystal bench, emotional bonds are more practical. We form connections based on mutual benefit and survival. But what you humans call love, this overwhelming, irrational devotion, it's both terrifying and beautiful. Marcus had laughed softly, leaning closer to catch her scent, a mixture of ozone and something sweetly floral. Terrifying is right, he confessed. On Earth, we spend years trying to figure it out. Some folks never do. But when it happens, really happens, it's like discovering a new dimension you didn't know existed. These moments of revelation came with increasing frequency, each one pushing them closer to uncharted territory. During a particularly intense ion storm, they found themselves trapped in the ancient library tower, surrounded by centuries of Xylorian knowledge. As lightning danced across the sky, illuminating the room with flashes of violet light, Marcus had reached out to steady Lyra when she tripped over a stack of floating data crystals. Their hands remained clasped longer than necessary, and when their eyes met, something fundamental shifted between them. "You're different," Marcus murmured, his thumb brushing against her palm. "Not just because you're not human. You make me want to be better, to reach higher." His voice dropped to a whisper. "Is that crazy?" Lyra shook her head, her luminescent skin glowing brighter with each passing second. "No, because I feel it too. When I'm with you, I experience emotions that shouldn't be possible for my kind. It's as if you've awakened parts of me that have been dormant for generations." Their physical proximity changed as well. What began as formal distance during their earliest meetings had gradually diminished. Now, they sat shoulder to shoulder during council sessions, their legs occasionally brushing beneath the table. During private moments, they stood close enough to feel each other's breath, though neither dared to cross the final boundary that separated careful intimacy from something deeper. The tension between them became palpable, especially during the traditional night of reflection ceremony. As the entire court gathered to meditate on their place in the universe, Lyra found herself unable to focus. Her awareness kept drifting to Marcus, standing respectfully at the edge of the gathering, his human form outlined by the pulsing light of the central crystal. When their eyes met across the chamber, she felt her resolve wavering. This wasn't just attraction anymore, it was something far more profound and unsettling. Their stolen moments grew more frequent, more desperate. In the privacy of the star observation deck, they would stand side by side, fingers almost touching but never quite making contact. They talked about everything except the obvious, the growing force that pulled them together despite every logical reason why they should remain apart. The weight of unspoken words hung heavy between them, creating a tension that was both exquisite and excruciating. One evening, after a particularly intense discussion about interspecies relationships throughout the galaxy, Marcus turned to Lyra with an expression she'd never seen before. His usual confident demeanor had softened into something vulnerable and raw. "I need to know," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you feel it too? The way everything seems sharper, more vivid when we're together." Lyra's response caught in her throat. She wanted to speak, to articulate the whirlwind of emotions that had been building inside her, but centuries of royal training warred with the unfamiliar sensations coursing through her body. Instead, she simply nodded, her gem-like eyes reflecting every shade of longing and fear. The breaking point came unexpectedly, as these things often do. It was during the festival of eternal twilight, when the entire planet celebrated the harmony between Xyloria's three suns. The air vibrated with ancient music, and the crystalline structures sang in sympathetic resonance. Marcus and Lyra found themselves swept away from the main celebration, drawn to the secluded celestial garden where gravity played tricks with floating islands of vegetation. As they walked among the hovering plants, their conversation turned to matters of the heart. In human culture, Marcus explained, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of earthly tradition, there comes a moment when you have to choose between playing it safe or taking a chance on something extraordinary. He paused, his hand brushing against a cluster of luminous flowers. I think I'm at that moment. Lyra felt her heart's, yes, plural, begin to race in a rhythm unfamiliar even to her advanced physiology. She had studied human anatomy during her preparations for this diplomatic mission, but nothing could have prepared her for the way Marcus's gaze seemed to pierce through every layer of royal decorum she had built around herself. We're taught that emotions must always serve a greater purpose, she replied, her voice trembling with an honesty that surprised even her. But with you, everything feels different. The weight of their situation pressed down upon them. Marcus, representing humanity's first official contact with Lyra, carried the hopes of billions on his shoulders. Lyra, as crown princess, bore the responsibility of maintaining her species' genetic purity and political stability. Yet here they stood, two beings from vastly different worlds, connected by threads stronger than diplomacy or duty. I've faced hostile aliens and navigated asteroid fields, Marcus continued, stepping closer until only centimeters separated them. But nothing has ever scared me like this. His human fingers hovered near her luminescent cheek, not quite daring to make contact. Because I know that whatever happens next will change everything. Lyra felt her breathing accelerate, her normally stable emotional state fluctuating wildly. In all her years of royal training, no scenario had prepared her for this moment. The choice before her wasn't just about reciprocating feelings, it was about redefining what it meant to be Zylorian. Our people. She began, but Marcus gently interrupted. Our people can wait, he said firmly. Right now, it's just us. Two individuals who've somehow managed to find something rare and precious in this vast universe. He took a deep breath, his human body responding to the moment with sweat beading on his forehead. Lyra, I need to know. Do you feel the same way about me that I do about you? The question hung in the air, charged with more energy than any of Zyloria's natural phenomena. Lyra felt her multi-chambered hearts racing in conflicting rhythms. Every fiber of her being screamed yes, yet centuries of conditioning urged caution. The silence stretched between them, broken only by the gentle hum of the floating garden's gravity generators. She reached out, her alien hand hovering near his human one, mirroring his earlier gesture. Marcus, she whispered, her voice carrying the weight of countless unspoken emotions. You must understand that for someone like me, raised to prioritize logic over emotion, this is unprecedented. Her iridescent eyes searched his face, seeking understanding. I've spent my entire existence preparing for leadership, for alliances that strengthen our species. But you. Her voice caught, and she had to pause, drawing in a shuddering breath that felt entirely foreign to her physiology. Marcus watched her struggle, his human heart pounding against his ribcage. He recognized the conflict in her eyes, the battle between duty and desire that transcended species. Take your time, he said softly, though every nerve ending in his body screamed for an immediate answer. I know this isn't easy for you. The princess closed her eyes, allowing the reality of her position to wash over her. She was heir to the Zylorian throne, guardian of traditions older than human civilization. Yet here she stood, contemplating an emotional response that defied every principle she'd been taught. When she opened her eyes again, they shone with a mixture of fear and determination. Among my people, declarations of emotional attachment are considered dangerous. We believe that strong emotions can disrupt the delicate balance of our society. But your emotions are already disrupted, Marcus pointed out gently, taking a small step closer. I see it in the way you look at me when you think I'm not watching. In the way your voice changes when we're alone. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Love isn't supposed to be safe, Lyra. If it was, it wouldn't be worth anything. Her hand finally made contact with his, the sensation sending waves of unfamiliar energy through her alien nervous system. You humans put so much faith in this concept of love, she said, her voice trembling with equal parts awe and apprehension. You risk everything for it, even when logic dictates otherwise. She squeezed his hand lightly, testing the connection between them. And now you're asking me to do the same. Marcus nodded, his blue eyes reflecting the bioluminescent glow of the garden. I'm not just asking, Lyra. I'm showing you that sometimes, the greatest risks lead to the most incredible rewards. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his own words. When I return to Earth, I'll have to face the United Galactic Council. There will be questions, debates, maybe even hostility. But none of that matters if I don't know where you stand. The princess withdrew her hand, pacing along the edge of a floating island of purple moss. Her movements, usually so graceful and controlled, betrayed her inner turmoil. You must understand what you're asking of me, she said, her voice rising slightly. If I acknowledge these feelings, if I act on them, I risk everything. My position, my people's trust, perhaps even peace between our species. And if you don't? Marcus countered, his voice firm despite the knot forming in his stomach. What happens to you? To us? Can you really go back to viewing emotions as mere biological impulses after experiencing this? He gestured between them, encompassing the invisible yet undeniable connection that had grown stronger with each passing day. Lyra stopped her pacing, turning to face him with an expression that blended royal dignity with raw vulnerability. Every moment with you challenges what I thought I knew about myself, she admitted, her voice barely audible over the garden's ambient hum. You've shown me that there's more to existence than maintaining equilibrium. That perhaps disruption can lead to something better. The weight of their situation settled heavily around them. They both understood that this moment would define not just their personal relationship, but potentially the future of interspecies diplomacy. Yet despite the monumental implications, what mattered most in that instant was the simple truth hanging between them. Two beings from different worlds, connected by something stronger than logic or duty. Marcus reached out again, this time placing his hand gently on her shoulder. Whatever you decide, Lyra, he said, his voice thick with emotion, know that I'll respect your choice. But please, don't let fear dictate your answer. Not when what we have is so extraordinary. The princess placed her hand over his, feeling the warmth of his human skin through her translucent touch. Fear isn't the only thing guiding me, she whispered, her eyes reflecting every shade of uncertainty and hope. But neither is love, not yet. Give me time to process what this means, for both our peoples. Their encounter in the celestial garden sparked a chain reaction that rippled through both their lives and the delicate fabric of interstellar diplomacy. Marcus found himself questioning every decision he'd made since arriving on Lyra, 7. The weight of his position as humanity's ambassador pressed heavily upon him, yet he couldn't ignore the profound connection he shared with Lyra. During council meetings, he caught himself staring at her across the crystalline table, wondering what she was thinking, how she was processing their shared moment of vulnerability. For Lyra, the internal struggle manifested differently. Her royal duties became both sanctuary and prison. Immersing herself in diplomatic negotiations and ceremonial obligations provided temporary distraction, but every formal interaction with Marcus served only to heighten her awareness of their unresolved connection. The Xylorian court began noticing subtle changes in their princess, her normally composed demeanor occasionally cracked by fleeting expressions of confusion and longing. The situation reached a critical point during a joint exploration mission to Xyloria's southern hemisphere. Both Marcus and Lyra had volunteered to lead the expedition, perhaps subconsciously seeking neutral ground to process their feelings. As they trekked through fields of phosphorescent grass that swayed in harmonic patterns, neither could ignore the growing tension between them. The scientific team accompanying them faded into the background as their leaders became increasingly focused on each other. It's affecting our work, Lyra admitted during a brief rest period, watching as Marcus examined a cluster of singing crystals. The council members notice how distracted we are. They're starting to question whether continuing this mission is wise. Marcus straightened, brushing alien pollen from his gloves. Maybe they're right, he said, surprising both of them with his candor. But running away from this, whatever this is, would be worse. We owe it to ourselves and our people to figure this out. He approached her cautiously, respecting the invisible boundary that still existed between them. Every moment I spend pretending this isn't happening is a moment wasted. Their companions discreetly excused themselves, leaving the two leaders alone amidst the glowing vegetation. Lyra paced along the edge of a bioluminescent stream, her footsteps disturbing patterns of light that danced across the water's surface. "You humans have a saying about burning bridges," she mused, her voice carrying over the gentle hum of the environment. "I feel like every step I take toward you burns another connection to my old life." "But those bridges led to somewhere you no longer want to be," Marcus suggested, moving closer until only meters separated them. "Isn't that worth something? The fact that you're willing to consider leaving behind what you know for this." The princess turned to face him, her multifaceted eyes reflecting every shade of conflict within her. "What scares me most isn't the possibility of losing my position or disappointing my people," she confessed. "It's the realization that I'm already changing. That every moment with you makes returning to who I was impossible." Their conversation was interrupted by the discovery of ancient ruins emerging from the phosphorescent fields. As they explored the forgotten structures together, working in perfect synchronization despite their differing physiologies, it became increasingly clear that their connection transcended individual desires. The ruins contained evidence of past interspecies cooperation, a reminder that sometimes, progress required stepping beyond established boundaries. Back at the palace, rumors of their growing bond spread through both human and Xylorian ranks. While some viewed their relationship as a potential threat to diplomatic stability, others saw it as an opportunity for unprecedented cultural exchange. Representatives from various factions began positioning themselves, waiting to see how the situation would resolve. The pressure mounted daily, with both sides receiving communications from their respective governments urging caution and discretion. During a particularly tense diplomatic reception, Marcus found himself cornered by members of the human delegation. "Captain Reed," one of his superiors said pointedly, "we need to discuss your involvement with the princess. This isn't just about personal feelings anymore. The future of human-Xylorian relations depends on maintaining professional distance." Meanwhile, Lyra faced similar pressures from her advisory council. "Your Highness," her chief advisor pleaded, "you must understand the implications of pursuing this relationship. Our people aren't ready for such radical change. The genetic implications alone." "I'm aware of the consequences," Lyra interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of her position. "But perhaps it's time we reconsider what ready truly means. Throughout history, significant advances have always required challenging established norms." The tension between duty and desire reached its peak during a formal state dinner. Seated at opposite ends of the crystalline table, Marcus and Lyra maintained perfect composure while their hearts raced with unspoken words. Every glance, every subtle gesture carried the weight of their unresolved situation. As the meal progressed, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged, until even the other diplomats noticed the electricity sparking between their leaders. Finally, unable to endure the separation any longer, Marcus excused himself early, claiming fatigue. Minutes later, Lyra followed suit, citing a need to review upcoming diplomatic schedules. They met in the private meditation chamber, a space designed for reflection but now serving as their sanctuary from prying eyes and political expectations. "We can't keep doing this," Marcus said, his voice cracking under the strain of pent-up emotions. "Pretending everything's normal while our feelings threaten to consume us. Something has to give, Lyra. Either we face this together, or we walk away completely." The princess sank onto a cushion of gravity-defying moss, her normally composed posture giving way to genuine vulnerability. "I've been reviewing our histories," she admitted. "There have been interspecies relationships before, though none involving royalty. The challenges were immense, but so were the rewards. New perspectives, combined strengths, evolution beyond what either species could achieve alone." Marcus knelt beside her, their positions symbolizing the meeting of two worlds. "Then why does it feel like we're standing on the edge of a precipice?" he asked, reaching out to touch her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. "Because we are," she whispered, her voice carrying the weight of destiny. "And neither of us knows if we'll fly or fall." Their connection had evolved beyond personal attraction into something far more complex. A bridge between species, cultures, and ways of understanding existence itself. Each moment they spent together revealed new layers of compatibility and challenge, forcing them to confront not just their feelings for each other, but the very nature of what it meant to connect across such vast differences. Through their struggles, Marcus and Lyra discovered that their relationship represented more than just a personal journey. It embodied the potential for growth and understanding between their species. The obstacles they faced weren't just barriers to overcome, but opportunities to redefine what was possible in interspecies relations. Their story had become a living experiment in cultural exchange, one that could reshape the future of both human and Xylorian civilizations. Yet as they stood on the threshold of decision, neither could predict how their choices would ripple through time and space. The path forward remained uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. Their love had become a catalyst for change, but the direction of that change rested in their hands. As they prepared to face the consequences of their connection, they understood that their journey was far from over, that the true test of their bond lay not in declarations of affection, but in the actions they would take to build a future together against all odds. The turning point came during an unexpected crisis that threatened both their worlds. A rogue asteroid, invisible to Xylorian sensors due to its unique mineral composition, was on a collision course with the planet. The human delegation, equipped with advanced detection technology, discovered it just in time, but stopping it would require unprecedented cooperation between humans and Xylorians. Marcus and Lyra found themselves thrust into the center of the emergency. As they worked side by side in the command center, coordinating efforts between their respective teams, something remarkable happened. Their personal struggles faded into the background as they focused on saving lives. For the first time, they weren't thinking about titles or species. They were simply two leaders determined to protect what mattered most. Lyra, Marcus said urgently as they analyzed trajectory data, we need to deploy your gravity manipulation systems alongside our propulsion tech. It's risky, but if we sync them perfectly. His voice trailed off as he looked at her, realizing how seamlessly they had fallen into partnership. She met his gaze, her multifaceted eyes glowing with resolve. Then let's do it. Together. In that moment, all hesitation melted away. They gave the order, combining human ingenuity with Xylorian precision. The asteroid was deflected just in time, sparing the planet from catastrophe. Cheers erupted throughout the command center, but for Marcus and Lyra, the victory felt deeply personal. In facing this shared challenge, they had proven that their bond wasn't a liability, it was a strength. After the crisis passed, the atmosphere on Xylora 7 shifted. The people, who had once viewed their growing connection with suspicion, now saw it as a symbol of hope and unity. Even Lyra's advisors softened their stance, acknowledging that their princess had found not just love, but an ally who could help bridge the gap between their species. One evening, under the shimmering twilight skies, Marcus approached Lyra in the crystal gardens where their journey had begun. He carried a small device, a holographic projector containing images of Earth's most beautiful landscapes. "I've been thinking," he said softly, "about what you said before. How scared you were of disrupting everything." Lyra turned to face him, her luminescent skin glowing faintly in the dim light. And I realized something," Marcus continued, taking a step closer. "You don't have to choose between being true to yourself and fulfilling your duty. Love doesn't weaken us, it makes us stronger. Look at what we just did. We saved your world because we trusted each other." Tears welled up in Lyra's gem-like eyes, though they sparkled like liquid starlight rather than falling. "But what about the future? What will our peoples say when they learn?" "They already know," Marcus interrupted gently. "They saw how we worked together. They saw the power of what we share. And if anyone doubts it, then we'll show them. Every day, through our actions, we'll prove that this us is worth fighting for." Lyra hesitated, her hearts beating in unison for the first time in weeks. Then she reached out, placing her hand over his. "You're right. But it won't be easy. There will still be challenges, questions, fears." Marcus smiled, intertwining his fingers with hers. "Then we'll face them together. Just like we did with the asteroid. No matter what happens, I'm not letting go of you. Not now, not ever." Her lips curved into a radiant smile, one that lit up the garden more brightly than any bioluminescent plant. "Then neither am I." Word of their commitment spread quickly, not as scandal but as inspiration. The Xylorian Council convened to discuss the implications of their union, but instead of resistance, they found overwhelming support. Many saw it as an opportunity to forge a new era of collaboration between their species. On Earth, the United Galactic Council issued a statement praising their courage and vision, declaring their relationship a testament to the potential of interspecies harmony. Their wedding ceremony became a historic event, blending human and Xylorian traditions in a celebration that united two worlds. The palace grounds were adorned with floating crystals and earth flowers, while music from both cultures filled the air. As Marcus and Lyra exchanged vows beneath the twin moons, their voices echoed not just across Xylora, 7 but through communication channels reaching countless planets. "I promise to honor your world as my own," Marcus declared, holding Lyra's hands. "To stand by your side, no matter the challenges we face." "And I promise to embrace your humanity as part of me," Lyra replied, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "To build a future where our differences make us stronger, not weaker." As they sealed their vows with a kiss, a tender meeting of alien and human lips, the crowd erupted into cheers. Fireworks exploded overhead, a blend of Earth pyrotechnics and Xylorian light displays that painted the sky in vibrant hues. In the years that followed, Marcus and Lyra became symbols of unity and progress. Together, they spearheaded initiatives to promote cultural exchange, scientific collaboration, and mutual understanding between their species. Their children, born with traits of both humans and Xylorians, represented a new generation of hybrid diplomats who could navigate both worlds effortlessly. Though challenges remained, their love endured as a beacon of hope. They proved that even in the vastness of the universe, connection was possible, and that sometimes the greatest risks led to the most extraordinary rewards. And so, beneath the eternal twilight of Xylora 7, the story of the human captain and the alien princess became legend, a reminder that love knows no boundaries, not even those of space and time.